All right, Bob Hinkst is with us today. Again, a little bit different. Bob is down in Florida, where it is considerably warmer than it is here in Omaha, Nebraska today. Bob, how have you been?
I've been well, thank you.
Good. So we are talking to one of your travelers today on the Atlas Life by the name of JD Trent. JD's
Yes.
been with us for quite some time now, and I got to tell you, I love this guy. He, he is everything that he's everything that Atlas is, right? I mean, dude works hard, he plays hard, and he is fantastic. Talk to me about him a little bit.
Absolutely. I've actually known JD for a while. He was friends of Patty and mine before I started as a travel recruiter. That is actually Patty's work husband from down here in St. Pete, Florida at St. Anthony's. So I actually met him on the floor. I mean, he's just a bundle of energy, and he is my number one overtime workhorse. He's crazy,
Yeah.
crazy about his work.
That guy will go. I remember seeing his time cards, and we get into that in the interview a little bit as we talk from when he was out in California, and oh my gosh, it was unbelievable. But he talked about it. He's like, when I go somewhere, I'm gonna work, right?
Right.
And that's what he did.
Yeah, his basic thing is just get him a place to sleep, and he'll go work. He had one stint that he worked 10 days on, 1 day off, 12 days on, another day off, then another 10 days on. So just suicidal. I told him he was suicidal.
And you know what? And he's an ICU nurse.
Yes.
I would, even on day 10 or 11 or 12, I still think he's probably he is on. He is sharp. Yeah.
Yeah, and he does cardiovascular ICU as well. So, I mean, he's on top of his game.
I did not know that. That's awesome. So, and he was talking about going to, is it, Patty, help me out here, CRNA school?
Yeah, CRNA, yes.
Yeah. Patty's right there. We can talk. We can talk to Patty.
I'm just for the gym.
Did you gonna do your hair yet today? Is that? So I hope. I mean, we'll be there to support him every step of the way. I think that's fantastic that he's
awesome.
doing that.
He's amazing.
So awesome. Well, Bob, thank you so much. Thank you for bringing JD to us and then scheduling this. I look forward to this one. I told him. I said and it's towards the end of the interview a little bit. When you said that JD was interested in doing it, I was like, yes, that's going to be awesome.
Absolutely. I mean, like you said, he is just epitome of Atlas.
Yeah, positive guy.
Absolutely. Awesome. Well, Bob, thank you so much. And JD, welcome to the Atlas Life. JD Trent, thank you for being with us today on the Atlas Life. I'm so excited to have you, brother. It has been a while since we've talked.
Yes, I'm excited to be here.
Introduce me to your friend here too.
This is Ziggy, D-I-I or D-I-G-G-Y, Z-I-G-G-Y. Here we go. Like Tigger.
Awesome. Fantastic. And and this is just a little sneak preview. We've been doing the Cats of Atlas. Have you seen the Cats of Atlas?
Tell him no.
We're doing a dog thing. It's coming. We're not quite there yet. So I'll need pictures of Ziggy after we get started. Okay. So look at that. You're worried about someone calling you, and my phone's ringing here. So there you go. All right. Look at it. You're wearing the shirt. You got the coffee mug.
I am hashtag Atlas Life. Everything about the company I just enjoy. My recruiter is amazing. His wife is double amazing.
Yep.
You guys are amazing. And I had the pleasure of coming to the office probably about a year ago in November. Like it had been a year not this last November, but the November before I was there.
Yes. Yeah. So catch me up. Where have you been? What are you doing? What's happening now?
Well, I'm actually at home at my own home right now. Took a local contract here. I took a little time off of work at the end of the year because I just needed to be home for a while, and I took I stopped my last contract before I came home to Florida was LA, Kaiser, and I left there mid-October and drove home. I stopped on the way home at one of my friends from Dallas. He actually flew out to LA. I worked night shift. I got off work. I went to my place where I was renting a room at, he got landed at the airport all the time I was getting off work, and he took a taxi cab to my apartment, and I literally showered, packed the rest of the stuff up in my car that wasn't already in the car, and he pulled up in the taxi cab, and I'm like, all right, let's go. So then we started driving back across the country. He was kind enough to fly to LA and then drive with me back to Dallas.
Wow.
On the way back, we got to stop at the International Balloon Festival in Albuquerque, New Mexico.
Mm-hmm.
That was a lot of fun. And then I stopped in, before we got to Albuquerque, we stopped in Winslow, Arizona, so I can stand on the corner because it is a fine sight to see.
Yep.
There's not much else there. It's just a corner. I figured I'm here. I got to stop off and see it. You know, I'm driving right through Winslow.
Where did they? I don't. Why? Where did that come from in the song? Like, did they give you any background at all on that?
He's just standing on the corner of Winslow, Arizona, because he's got 7 women on his mind. You know.
All right.
So I'm not sure where where Winslow, Arizona came into. It just rhymed with the song verse, apparently.
I guess.
When we left Albuquerque, we drove down to Carlsbad, New Mexico. On the way to the Carlsbad, we went through Roswell. So we stopped off and did the little alien museum that Bob told me about.
Yep.
And definitely, if you're not going out of your way, you should stop and see it. But other than that, the museum is like the size of a small movie theater.
Mm.
Was a movie theater, they converted it into the museum.
Yeah.
And then we went to the Carlsbad Caverns to see all the bats.
Oh, yeah.
Good time of year to do that, though, would probably be more. So we were getting there at the end of the season. So if you really want to see more, like lots of bats, there was a couple hundred, maybe 1,000 or 2,000 bats that came flying out. But I guess if you go there in like the middle of summer, like July and August, like because these bats, they're Brazilian bats, so we know they come from Mexico too. They come up to the Carlsbad Caverns and they have their babies there every year. So right around end of July, beginning of August, all the babies are flying on their own. So you have all the adult bats and all the baby bats come flying out of these caverns, and it's pretty impressive to see. So,
that's cool. Wow.
Yeah.
And then you ended up back home.
Yeah, then I ended up back home. I left him in Dallas, and I drove the rest of the way back home myself and listened to some audio tapes in the car. Stopped and visited my cousin in Alabama. My aunt and uncle were in Biloxi. They've been traveling in their RV for the last 13 years, and I visited with them. They took me to the casinos, and I won some money, and that was fun.
Nice.
Then I started back up to work mid-January, and I'm here on contract right now until mid-April. But before I start back up to work, my best friend and I try to go somewhere fun every year for New Year's. This year was Brazil. The year before was Costa Rica.
I remember seeing the pictures of the Brazil trip.
Brazil was amazing, and it was quite comical. Like, I have a very strange sense of humor, so I decided that I was going to do like a captain vlog every day. So every day I'm in Brazil, like captain vlog, day one. We went to the first night we went out to the bar there, and we just wanted one vodka Red Bull, like a mixed drink. Mm-hmm. We ended up getting the whole bottle of vodka because there was a language barrier. Like neither one of us speak Portuguese. I speak a little broken Spanish, not a lot.
Yeah.
But I asked for one, but it was not quite coming. Yeah, one. We got one bottle instead. We're like, and Ryan, my friend, he was like, JD, we can't ask them to take it back because they might shoot us. Like, the whole bottle of vodka tonight.
There you go.
We made a few friends that night. A lot of fun. And then we hung out a few days in Brazil, and we went into the jungle, and that was quite comical. We were, the best part of that trip for me was getting stuck on the boat in the middle of the dark. We were on this canoe. It was a canoe with like a little, like a weed whacker motor on the back of it that propelled us through the river along the Amazon.
Yeah.
So we went out to fish for piranha right before sunset. We were fishing for piranha. We actually caught one. It took us forever to catch it. And I live in Florida, so like fishing is no big deal to me. I'm like, I fished lots, you know? And so I was asking the tour guide, I'm like, because we were having a hard time catching them. We were using raw chicken meat to catch the piranha. Mm-hmm. And they weren't biting. And I said, are they like shark where you chum the water up and you get more? And the tour guide says, yeah. I said, good. Then when we catch one of these piranhas, we're going to hack him up and feed him to his cousins.
And then, yeah.
So we did. And people were on my boat were like, oh my God, I can't believe you're hacking the piranha up. I'm like, how else are you supposed to fish?
Right.
You gotta have bait.
Yep.
So unfortunately, we didn't catch any more piranha after that one. I think we scared him away with my abusiveness towards it. And then after that, we were going to go look for alligator because it got dark and we had a flashlight to look for alligator.
Yep.
We had two boats because one of them was going to be for safety reasons. Like if the motor doesn't work on this one, we have another boat that can help us out.
Mm-hmm.
Well, the English-speaking tour guide got off of my boat and onto the other boat. And he's like, I'm going to go ahead and I'll be spotting the alligators. And if we catch one, I'll bring you guys closer to look at it then. I live in Florida. Alligators we have them in our backyards. No,
right.
Whatever. I've seen alligators. I'm good. So meanwhile, the boat our boat hit some reeds and the propeller stopped working. The other boat kept going and left us. And so we're sitting there, pitch black. We didn't have a flashlight. We had one oar and a tour guide now who spoke no English, not even broken English, none. And so we're out there in the water, going from bank to bank with all these mangroves on the bank. And we're like, don't get too close to the banks because there might be snakes that jump into our boat. We don't want that.
Right.
So we were out there for probably a good half an hour with nobody coming to rescue us in pitch black conditions. And we didn't know what was going on.
That's awesome. That sounds awesome.
We might get eaten by the alligator we're looking for tonight.
Yeah, and you're right. I mean, living in Florida, you just go play golf and you'll see alligators, right? I mean, that's yeah.
There's a park around the corner from my house. You walk there and there's 10 alligators in the park easily.
Yeah. Keep Ziggy safe from the, right?
They're not allowed in that park. There's like no dogs allowed. Probably because alligators might eat them.
Yes. Well, yeah, right? Yeah. So tell me, I don't think we've ever talked about this. Where did it all start for you? Like, when did you decide I'm going to start traveling?
Bob is my recruiter.
Yep.
I've known him for years, even before he started working with Atlas. And Patty, his wife, is essentially my work wife. We worked together at the hospital for years, and then her and Bob went off traveling. And I was talking to Patty one day because I'm trying to get into CRNA school, nurse anesthesia. And I'm like, it's expensive, Patty, and I can't afford to not work, and you're not allowed to work in the program to get paid for the program, and you have to pay to live for 2 years while you're in the program. And Patty's like, come out to California, work a couple contracts. You'll have enough money saved up in no time.
Right.
And I had already had a California license and a few things kind of compiled. The hospital I was working at here in town, who will remain nameless for this video purposes, I interviewed for the manager position because I thought, I'll make more money as a manager. Maybe I could save it from that way. And so I interviewed for the manager position, and I was already doing the job because the manager had left, and I was sort of doing the job until they found someone. It wasn't even like, oh, you're the temporary manager. I was just doing it. So I was making the schedule, balancing the schedule, and doing all that other stuff. But the only thing I didn't know was the budgeting. And so I interviewed for the job, and then the director came back to me like a week later and was like, JD, you're really qualified for the job, but we don't have time to train you in the budgeting stuff now, so we're going to go in a different direction. And I thought, wait a minute, you don't have time to train me. And that was the only downfall, was I didn't know this stuff. So I don't want to work for a company who's not going to invest in time. I'm like, well, if you don't have time to train me, then I don't got time to continue giving me my time.
Sure.
So I literally, that day I put in my 2 weeks notice. I called Bob and I had a contract like the next day, literally. I'm like, all right, Bob, I'm pulling the trigger. I am done doing this. I'm tired of putting in my sweat, blood, and tears into companies and hospitals that are just using me. I'm like, if I'm going to get used, I want to get paid for it. Like, I'm fine going to work and doing my job, but I'm going to get paid for what I feel like I'm worth. I don't feel like I'm worth what I was putting in there. So I'm like, goodbye. I love you guys. I like working with you, but you don't have time for me. And then I found that the best part about it was, like 3 months later, I found out the person they hired had less education than me, was less qualified than me, and then he got walked out because he wasn't doing a good job. So I'm like, look at that. You could have taken that 3 months.
Right.
And now you're starting over again. So
yep.
Karma.
You know how that works sometimes though, right? I mean, that's just how it goes. So then when did you decide to be a nurse in the first place? Like, what kind of triggered that for you?
Fun story. So as a teenager, I was a lifeguard and lived in Ohio, and I taught some lessons and I liked lifeguarding. And then I got an internship at Disney World after my freshman year of college. I took an internship at Disney World as a lifeguard there. And I'm like, oh, it doesn't snow in Florida, and there's colleges here. I can come to college down here. And so I'm like, yeah, I'm moving to Florida. Like, I can't do snow any longer, which Bob will tell you the opposite. He loves snow.
He would rather live here in Omaha than down in Florida.
Oh, I'm aware.
Yeah.
So I'm like, all right, great. And so I did the lifeguard thing, and I was talking to some friends. I'm like, I really want to become a paramedic. Like, because I like the adrenaline rush that I got jumping in the water and saving someone and doing CPR on them, whatever the case may be. I really like that adrenaline rush.
Mm-hmm.
my friend who was a paramedic in multiple states, and he did flight paramedicing, and he's like, get a job at a hospital, JD, and they'll pay for you to go to paramedic school. Yeah. And so my very first manager, who I'm working for now at Palms Pasadena Hospital in Florida here, she hired me at the hospital solely based on the fact that I worked for Disney World. She wanted somebody to come into the hospital who had good customer service experience, who could help train her nurses in customer service. So here I was, a little baby person, and helping to train nurses on how to be more proactive in customer service. Like if their people are there, maybe, hey, you need some tissues, you know, whatever the case may be, just think about what you want before they tell you I need this. You just think about what ahead of time, sort of a Disney customer service experience. Yep. So that's why she hired me. It wasn't based on it, because I had no hospital experience whatsoever. I was a lifeguard, I did CPR in the field, but I never had anything in the hospital. So just the fact that I worked for Disney World is why she hired me. And while I was there, I was working in the ICU as a secretary, we called it, because I was helping the nurses and I was putting orders in before we had the doctors doing the computer order entry stuff. And I fell in love with bedside nursing. Like I was there, I'm like, I get the same adrenaline rush that I would get if I was running around the back of an ambulance, but I'm not running around the back of the ambulance in hot Florida humid weather. I'm like, I get air conditioning. Sign me up. I like air conditioning. So that's how I got into nursing. And then like I got right after I was finished with nursing school, because I worked with Linda in the ICU while I was in nursing school. So as soon as I was done with nursing school, I went directly to the ICU. Like I went straight to ICU, and which isn't very common, especially more so now. Like back then it was even hard for me to do it then, but it's even less common now for nurses to finish college and go straight to the ICU. Right. I was lucky I had, and then the nurses there all took me under the wing because they saw me grow up with them. So it was like, come here, JD, I'm going to show you how to do this. And it was a good fit for me. And then it was just history from then. It's like, then like within a year, I was a charge nurse and running committees. I was on the ethics committee. I was on patient satisfaction committees. I was on committees galore, and I was working. And so it was a good experience for me.
How long has that been now?
Since I finished nursing school in 2007. Okay.
So, yeah.
Quite a while ago.
That's been a while now. So. It's been a while. So what's it going to take? I know you're happy now. What's it going to take to get you to go back out again?
To go back out?
Travel. Go back to California? Like.
I'm looking because my contract here, I wanted to come home for a while just because I applied for CRNA school. I was hoping to start in January. Mm-hmm. I interviewed with them, but unfortunately they didn't take me. So I'm like, I came home to lick my wounds for a little bit and just be around my friends for a while. And I took the time off October, November, December, and came back to work in January. I'm like, this gives me more time at home and I'm working at least. Sure. And probably when this contract's over with, and my birthday's the end of April, this contract ends right before my birthday. Yep. I'll probably look at contracts back in California, or who knows, maybe somewhere else, because I now have a compact license.
Yes, that's right.
So maybe I'll go somewhere else, but I like to go. I don't necessarily personally, for me, care about the super desk. Like I don't want to, like, oh, this big city I want to be in. I like the littler cities that maybe make more money, you know, like, cause I'm in it for the money. Other people are in it for the travel. I do a lot of traveling on my own, and I'm okay with that. Like sometimes working and traveling, like, oh, I'm here to do a working travel vacation. Like I find that hard because when I go to work, I want to work. Like I work 6, 12, like when I was working in Modesto, the first contract I took out there was times I was working 12 shifts in a row. Like I broke the bank there, and I just read on Facebook about a week ago that they're canceling all the travelers there. And I'm like, I broke your bank. Sorry, guys.
So it's your fault then.
Probably not mine exclusively, but I took advantage of the overtime there. Like I was definitely taking advantage of the overtime. There was pretty much, I didn't take many days off, and Bob can attest. He's like, JD, you're working a lot. You should. I'm like, I'm good.
Oh,
I get money.
I saw your time cards. I absolutely, yeah. I worried about you a little bit too, but I figured you know what you're doing, right? I mean,
I was working night shift there, and so when you work night shift, like you go home, you go to bed, you wake up, you go to work. You go home, you go to bed, you wake up, you go to work. It was just repeat. And then it's like, the problem with that town is on your days, my day off, I want to sleep in them. So if I was working night or daytime, I sleep until like 10 in the morning maybe. So working nighttime, I'd sleep until like 10, 11 at night sometimes. Yep. And you wake up and everything is closed in that town. I'm like, where do I go to get food? I can't eat McDonald's. And even the McDonald's were closed. So I'm like, I can't even go to McDonald's if I don't do it before midnight. So it was.
The McDonald's aren't 24 hours there?
No, they were not 24 hours there. The town is definitely not many things are open 24 hours. Things are open 24 hours, just like Taco Bell, and I refuse to eat Taco Bell unless I'm like really drunk, and even then it's questionable. Like, no, I'm not drunk enough for Taco Bell tonight. Sorry, guys. So, and they didn't have a Chick-fil-A, and I really like Chick-fil-A, so there was no Chick-fil-A in that town.
Yeah.
So, but the money was really good in the town, and it was really good. Like, I had a great place to live. That was like my first travel experience, and Bob picked me up from the airport, brought me to the place. I didn't have my car there yet. I was planning on biking back and forth to save money, and I learned quickly, I'm like, nah, I don't want to get off work and bike 5 miles home, so I had my car out there.
After like a 12-hour shift, I would not want to ride a bike, no.
It was good for the first couple of weeks, though, until I got my car out there, but I'm like, nah, the weather's going to get colder, and I don't want to get off work after working 12 hours, and then had to wake up early, too, to bike into work 5 miles. Like, nah, I'm going to ship my car out here.
So what you're saying is that Bob will come and pick you up from work and take you to work then, is that right?
No, he picked me up at the airport when
I'm totally kidding.
Bob does that for Patty, but Patty's his wife.
Yes. Well, yeah.
But no, when I first got out there, in the second time I went back out to Modesto, when I went back out there, Bob picked me up at the airport again, or actually at the train station, and then brought me back into Modesto, and I Ubered it to and from work until my car got shipped out there because I didn't want to drive across the country. The only time I've driven across the country was when I came back to Florida this last time. I'm like, if I wanted to do a few things along the way, like the balloon festival was going on at that time, like I really want to hit the balloon festival up because I hadn't done it since I was like 4 years old and lived in Albuquerque. We were stationed there near the Air Force Base.
Yeah. So tell me, we talked about food a little bit, and I love asking this question is, talk to me, because when you go someplace, you live it up. You say you go and you work or whatever. I know you like that part.
Oh, I love food. I love to eat. I love to cook. Love to eat. Food is good. Food is important.
Give me some good places that you've been while you've been out on a contract, or even there in Florida, in either one.
Places don't necessarily compare to Florida. Like where I live at here, there's so many. I don't like to go to chain restaurants. Where I live at here in St. Pete, Florida, there's so many locally owned places to eat, and it's like I could just go different places every day. Like there's this one restaurant in town here. It's called Old Northeast Tavern. Plug. They should call me and give me some money. They have a fruit quesadilla. Oh my goodness, it's so good. It's got it's a fruit quesadilla.
Okay.
Fruit quesadilla. It's got like an amaretto cream cheese in it. And then they put like some slices of the kiwi, some slices of the grape, some slices of the strawberries inside of it, and they kind of fry it up a little bit, and they drizzle like a raspberry poulet sauce over it. Drink a little bit of powdered sugar and throw some toasted almonds on it. It's so good. And then I usually get that as an appetizer, and then I get a turkey strawberry sandwich on a croissant. So it is
strawberry.
It's turkey, like shredded turkey with strawberries folded into it. They put brie cheese on top, and it's all in a croissant. It's so good.
This sounds okay. So where in because I've been to St. Pete a few times, right? I've been down St. Pete Beach is one of my favorite beaches of all time. Where is this in comparison to that?
It's near downtown. It's like a block and a half north of downtown. It's at 7th Avenue and 2nd Street.
Okay.
So it's just a few blocks north of downtown, and it's so good. And they have everything on the menu is amazing. I'm not a big coleslaw fan, but they make this apparently really amazing apple coleslaw. But I think the best way to eat coleslaw is to scoop it off your plate and into the trash.
I've had some of the best coleslaw, and I love coleslaw. Some of the best coleslaw I've ever had has been down in St. Pete, by far. So I think you're missing out. You need to give it a shot.
I don't like coleslaw, though. But my favorite places to go to eat are here in St. Pete. And then if I'm leaving the city of St. Pete to go to a different city in the world to eat, my next favorite place would be Savannah, Georgia, and New Orleans. They're pretty tied to both of them. Like those are the places I'll go to those restaurants and I'll say, just give me what the chef feels like making tonight. And then whatever they bring out, it's always good.
Always good.
I like to eat. I don't care. Like I have a lot of friends who like eat like they're like in the 1st grade. They're like, I need chicken nuggets and French fries. I'm like, no, give me some sushi.
Yeah.
Give me some good Thai food, some good pho.
I learned that trick from a friend of mine actually here who, when we go someplace new, just what would you order? Like, and you ask the waitress, like, or the waiter, what do you eat when you eat here? What do you eat? And normally it's something that's not on the menu, and it's fantastic. Yeah, like that's one of my favorite things to do now. So that's Awesome. Well, last question, and I love this question just because I get crazy answers. So what lesson during all of this, from from the wanting to start as a paramedic all the way through this, has taken you the longest to learn?
Lesson that's taken me the longest to learn.
It's not an easy question.
It is not an easy question. I would probably, the thing that's taken me the longest to learn is probably my mouth. Like I need to sometimes shut up, and I've gotten a lot better at it over the years, but it definitely took me a long time to learn because I don't have much of a filter. Like if you ask me an opinion, like probably the most innocent one would be someone say, well, how, like Patty could tell you this, like one of the hospitals I worked at with her, someone was like really wanting me, because I'm brutally honest with people sometimes. She was like, well, how old do you think I am? And I'm like, do you really want me to answer that question? Sure. I'm going to answer this question. And I was like, I think you're probably 49. And she's like, I'm 45. And I'm like, well, you look like you're 49 to me.
Oh, there you go.
So that's probably the most innocent way I get in trouble. But other times, like, I really have to stop and think of what I'm saying because I will be rude. I'm like, why did you do that? You put the Foley to the test tube? Why? Come on, we don't do that. So I have to think sometimes who I'm talking to before I spout off at the mouth.
Is it rude though? Or is it just an honest answer? I think it's
an honest answer, but sometimes people don't want honesty.
That's what.
And my friends will all tell you, don't ask JD a question unless you want the honest answer.
Yep. That's what I think I appreciate the most about the friendship that you and I have built here over the past couple of years is I want the honest answer from you, and you will give me an honest answer.
I will. It might not be the answer you want to hear, though, but I like, I don't know how to be dishonest. And if I try to lie, my face always gives me away anyways.
Yeah.
Like, no, you don't look fat in that outfit at all.
No eye contact and yeah. JD, thank you. I appreciate you being on today. Thank you so much. This was a lot of fun. And when Bob suggested that you might be interested, I was like, this is awesome.
I am #Atlas Life. Like I wear the shirt when I go to the gym.
Got the shirt.
I have my You Belong Here shirt.
Mm-hmm.
When I'm at work, I drink out of my teacup because I don't do coffee. It's my teacup. Like I'm I have my blanket here. I have my new nightlight. That's like this is pretty cool. I like this.
That was fun. We have some new stuff too, and I can't say what it is because we just got them in. And if I say what it is, then I'm gonna get just inundated with emails. I'll just mail it to you.
So
I'll mail it to you. So
I have my bags. Like I like everything. Everything is Atlas on it. I'm like Atlas for life. Like the only thing more important to me than Atlas at this point is Disney World.
I can see why. Absolutely. JD, thanks so much. I really appreciate it, and we'll see you out there on the road.
Stay warm.
All right, thanks.
Bye.